going to do this just a couple of minutes early here because John wants to share a miracle that happened to him this last week. He came to me last week and said that he had lost his hearing in the right ear, correct? Yeah. In the right ear. And it was really bothering him for a couple of weeks, and God moved in a special way, and I want you to hear about it. Amen.
Good evening. It's kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to share it anyways. A couple weeks ago, I lost the hearing in my right ear. I didn't know what it was. I had an idea. It was probably just, full of stuff. So I went a couple weeks like that, and it just bothered me really bad. And every time I prayed to the Lord, I got back an answer that said, "Be still and know that I am God." So I just dealt with it for a whole week, kept going. And the next week, I asked the Lord again, and he just said, "My grace is sufficient enough." So I just live with it. So Sunday on Easter, when I came in the morning, I woke up, my head was just hurting, my ear hurt. It was just bothering me really bad. I was all dizzy, it was just bothering me. So after church, I went home, and I missed a phone call from a brother who invited me over for dinner. And I called him back up, and I explained to him, and I felt really bad because I missed out on a blessing from someone else. So I sat in my chair, and I asked the Lord, I kind of got angry, and I said, "Father," I said, "how am I supposed to share the gospel if I can't hear? How am I supposed to witness to people if I can't hear and answer their questions if they have questions? How am I supposed to hear when I come to church?" It just really bothered me, and it affected me in my walk, and I know that the enemy was trying to get to me. So I heard the Lord say, "Get up and go to the bathroom." So I went in the bathroom, and I was standing in front of the mirror, and I just kind of looked at myself and was just thinking in my head, okay, now what's going to happen? And the Lord said, "Pick up that bobby pin and stick it in your ear and wiggle it around." My first thought was, okay, I'm going to put this in my ear. And usually people don't put things in their ear except for Q-tips. So I did. I stuck it in my ear and I wiggled it around. And as I was thinking this thought in my head, okay, now what? I felt something like crawling in my ear. You could feel it like crawling. So the first thing I did is I went like this. And when I went like this, a big chunk of wax fell out into the sink. And my ear popped, and I could hear perfectly. And I heard the Lord say, "Do the other side." So I did to the other side. And the same thing happened. It felt like something was crawling. So I went like that. And another chunk of wax fell out. So now I could hear perfectly. So I fell to the ground, and I gave all glory to the Lord, because I know it was him that did that. So I just want to give him the glory and share with you that no matter what you're going through, you can always count on the Lord to get you through. And thank you.
Thank you, brother, for sharing that. I know it's not always easy to get up in front of people and share, but I just thought that was such an incredible testimony. And it also pointed something else out to me, that sometimes God will ask you to do things that don't make any sense. I mean, really, who puts a bobby pin in their ear? Amen? But the Lord told him to do it, and he obeyed the Lord. And because he obeyed the Lord, he got the result. So I wanted to read you just one thing here from our bulletin on Sunday before we begin tonight. This will be our last study in the book of Acts. We are finishing it tonight, Acts chapter 28. Next Wednesday, we'll start the book of Galatians. We'll be in the book of Galatians. Sunday nights, we're in Revelation chapter 20. That's going to take us a few more weeks to finish out the book of Revelation. But next week you can plan on coming for the book of Galatians, and it's really a great book on centering ourselves in the grace of God. Amen? So I wrote here, will you surrender all to God? That's a good question. Most of us know that song, I surrender all to Jesus, I surrender. Will you surrender all to God? Now, some people believe only when they can see the end result. They won't believe until they can see the result. God asks us to believe first, and then that's when I'll have our eyes opened to see the results of trusting Him. So a couple of scriptures, Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the realization of things we hope for and the evidence of things we do not yet see. And then Mark chapter 9, verse 23. Great verse. Jesus said this, if you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. Amen? So John, thank you for your obedience to the Lord. Doesn't have to make sense. I look at the results of things. Yeah, amen. And the results are you were healed, and we give God the praise for that. Amen.
You were wounded for our transgression. You were bruised for our iniquity. Punishment that was due for our peace was laid on